Let's take it slow. Where you go, I go too. And if you hit the bottom, I'm going down with you. Let's take it slow.
Hey guys, welcome back. It's Matt here, and today we're going to be taking a look at the Zhiyun Crane 2S. This is a beast. So this price is in at $599 or 599 pounds. And it's quite expensive, but it's geared towards more professionals and sort of pro videographers, things like that. So it's definitely more up there in terms of the price point, especially compared to other gimbals I've taken a look at in the past. They've actually made the motor capacity stronger so it can hold bigger, more cine grade like cameras. And also the actual arms have been extended to allow for more space. So even if your camera isn't necessarily some pro, huge, professional cine grade camera, even if it's just too big for the regular Crane 2, the 2S should have you covered. And I just want to mention up front that if you're worried about this motor at the back covering up your display because you don't have a flip out display, do not worry, because you can actually go ahead and get a screwdriver and move the motor from up here to down here. So this piece actually comes out, which is pretty nice. So you can go ahead and actually lower this down so you can go ahead and see the screen, which is super nice of them. So the first thing I want to actually discuss properly is the build quality, because it's a really expensive gimbal. You don't want any cheap materials that might break or not hold up in terms of durability. And this pretty much is all made of metal. The whole thing is pretty solid, and I can't really see this breaking over time. Obviously you don't want to bash it into things, but if you take care of it, then you'll have no issues. It feels really nice and substantial, and it's actually pretty heavy. You might want to hit the gym before you go ahead and do a shoot with this. It does have some weight to it, especially once you put your camera on it. Your arm can actually get pretty tired. And my arm's actually getting tired now, so I'm probably going to put this down. But yeah, it comes with a carbon fiber handle, which is really nice. So it just makes it a little bit lighter. Obviously, it's still a heavy gimbal, but it's just nice they included that. And I personally really like the look of it. It's got these sort of gold accents around the gimbal as well, so pretty much on the focus dial, around the handle. And they also have the gold accents on these switches, which go ahead and actually lock the gimbal, so there's one on each motor. And this is nice because it basically means you can move your gimbal around or put it down without your camera and your heavy lens sort of falling, because sometimes when you turn the gimbal off, the camera drops and it's going to sort of smash down and hit your lens. So this is really nice. You can go ahead and lock it. And it's even nice if you just want to put it on display. Like I like standing this up in my room. So yeah, it's really nice just being able to lock it in position. Something else I really like about this is it does come with this mini tripod that attaches on to the bottom. So this is really nice if you're carrying it and you just want to put it down somewhere for a minute, and maybe you want to set up a connection with your phone. You can just put it down and do that. It's really awkward if you don't have that attachment. But something nice is they added these rubber grips underneath. So if you put it even on like a glass table or something, it's really, really grippy. Something else nice to see is they've increased the size of the display from the regular Crane 2. So they've actually got a 0.6 inch OLED display now, and it's only like a black and white calculator-like looking screen, but it does have some great functionality. It allows you to change your gimbal mode and go through the gimbal settings. You can also go ahead and calibrate it. In terms of calibration, it does have this new auto calibration mode, so it can actually detect how much power it needs to send to each motor in order to balance correctly. But one of the cool things it has is USBC. Now, a couple of those are simply for the follow focus, because you can actually connect up a follow focus and use the focus ring on the side in order to go ahead and control your camera. So that's really nice. If you want to manually focus, you obviously can't reach the gimbal while you're using it. So you do have it built on the handle. But it comes with various cables, and you can go ahead and plug in the USB-C into the top of the gimbal, and then plug the other end into your camera if it's supported, and you can go ahead and actually control your camera. You can control your ISO, your shutter speed, your aperture. You can even start recording or take photos, and that's really neat because you don't want to be fumbling around with your camera while it's nice and smooth on the gimbal. The only problem for me is I have a GH4, and so that doesn't actually have any supported cables that came in the box, which is unfortunate. I couldn't really find any online either, so you're probably gonna have to try and just do it manually. I saw some tutorials about people connecting it through Wi-Fi, but unfortunately this gimbal isn't one of the ones that has that built in. So yeah, if you have a Panasonic, you're kind of a bit screwed. But I did try it out with this Canon camera, and it worked absolutely great. It's really nice just being able to take photos and record and change your camera mode and everything just straight from the handle. That's really, really nice. One thing I did find annoying though was that the controls are not very intuitive. Like I found that you have to sort of push opposite buttons to which you would expect. Like you'd expect to simply click OK if you want to go into a menu, but you actually have to push right on the scroll wheel. Something nice is there's two small rosette screw mounts on the sides of these, so you can go ahead and mount maybe like a microphone, or you can mount a light or a display, or even just some sort of grip. You could attach that, which is really nice. And one of the things they were definitely advertising a lot is this new flex mount. So I personally didn't find it that useful, but I can kind of see why it is useful if you have various different rigs set up and everything like that. Basically, this allows you to pull out the camera and leave this mount plate attached for the gimbal, and underneath there's actually 3 screws, and you can screw in just like a standard mount for a tripod or some sort of rig, and then you can just leave it on this plate and then attach it to your tripod, and when you want to switch back to the gimbal, you just take it off and clip it back in the gimbal. So it does have some use to it. Something else you can use it for is the portrait mode. So there's actually another mounting point. So it's on the side here, and you can go ahead and mount your camera in portrait mode in case you want to film some videos for social media or anything like that. So now let's get into the actual modes, because there's quite a few different modes to choose from, and I wasn't really sure what they all did. So I had to play around with it for a while to sort of figure it out, but I think I got it. I'm pretty sure I got it. So the first mode you have is pan follow. That basically allows you to move the camera left or right. It allows you to pan it with either the actual handle itself or the joystick, and it keeps the tilt locked, so it doesn't go up or down. Then you have lock mode, so you can turn the handle in any direction you want and the camera will not move. You can only control it through either the app or the actual joystick on the handle itself. You also have follow mode, so it will actually go ahead and follow your tilt and rotation by simply turning the handle. And then there's POV mode, which allows you to rotate the camera by just moving the handle, so you don't even need to touch the joystick. But there's other cool effects that I probably won't use, but are nice to have, like vortex mode, which basically allows you to use the joystick in order to spin the camera all the way around. So while you're moving towards something or away, you can spin it around and get like a cool spiral effect. There's also go mode. Now this might be good if you're shooting something like an action movie or something fast paced, or like maybe running. This basically increases the overall response time of the gimbal, so it will react really quickly to your turning of the handle. So this is really nice if you're panning to follow like a fast race car or an animal or some sort of bird or something. There could be any use for it, but it's really, really quick and overall really great when you're just running around and you want to get quick shots. Then yeah, you have that mode. And then there's sync motion. Now I thought this one was the coolest. So you can go ahead and download the app on your smartphone, and it will use your accelerometer in your smartphone to actually control which way the gimbal faces in terms of like panning and tilting or rotation as well. So this is cool if you got your camera mounted on some sort of rig or you don't have access to actually touch it. You can go ahead and use your smartphone and tilt the smartphone in the direction you want to film, and the camera will actually face that as well. That's just really cool. But overall, it gets some really nice shots. I like how it's got this thing here to hold the lens, so it's all very sturdy. But the presentation is great. You get these 3 batteries, which it does take, and they don't take very long to charge up at all. I mean, it took about maybe an hour or so to charge, and then that gives you up to 12 hours of charge, but realistically it's about 9 or 10, but it does depend on the weight of your camera. So yeah, it was actually very good. I'm happy with that. I would still probably pick up some extra batteries though. And the actual charger itself didn't feel the best, but it is USB-C, which is kind of cool. It also comes with a really nice travel case as well, so it's made of this sort of foam material with these clips and a handle, and you can put everything in it. My only gripe is that you have to reset the gimbal every time because it has to go back to how it was originally to fit in the packaging. So you can't just like set it up so that it fits your camera and then put it in. You have to sort of put it in, take it out, and reset everything. But pretty much every gimbal I've experienced has a case that sort of works like that. So there is some quirks with actually using the screen and things like that, but there can be software updates, which are very likely. I mean, this is a pretty new gimbal, so hopefully there will be some new updates and features coming out. But overall, this is a very smooth gimbal. It's got loads of possibilities. You can even move the handle the other way around so it's above the camera and you can get some like low pan shots. But it's overall the smoothest gimbal I've used. It's probably the most expensive, so I'd hope it was the smoothest. There is some quirky software things, but they can be fixed by a software update, which Zhiyun is pretty good at compared to other gimbal manufacturers out there. But yeah, that's pretty much my thoughts. So thank you for watching. Definitely let me know down below your opinion of this gimbal and whether you'd go ahead and pick this up. But yeah, that's pretty much it. So I'll see you guys later.